Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here with you all. I think the main thing that distinguishes me in my own eyes is the fact that I started this thing with Terry. How many years ago? 13, 14 years ago. I remember we conceived this in my office in Lagoon Hospitals at the time. So I am most grateful to be alive, given what has happened in the world in the last couple of years. I don't know about you guys, but believe me, I don't know if you fully understand what you have come through. I know many young people feel like, oh, it didn't happen to us. But many young people lost their lives to this thing called COVID. And we're actually beginning to see an increase in cases amongst young people. So the fact that you're here, mentally alert, and able to learn is a great privilege. Okay? So I'm not going to bore you. I hope I won't be here for more than 15, 20 minutes. I've come to tell you a story. Story relates to something that's happened to me recently. And I think I learned quite a few lessons from it. And I was sharing my story with my brother. And he said, you know, I think this is more important than what you were preparing for this, because I think there's a lot to learn from it. So, where's the presentation? Is where? Right. Thank you. I have titled it Weeds in My Lawn. Next. I come from very humble beginnings in my own eyes. I grew up on this beautiful campus. This is the University of Ife. I don't like calling it Obafemi Awolowo University. This is University of Ife. This is the campus on which I grew up as a child and where I went to school. This is staff school, University of Ife. Beautiful. This is my faculty, Faculty of Health Sciences. Beautiful stuff. That's Nigeria. That's the Nigeria I grew up in. Lecturers don't have money. Lecturers never made money at the time. But we had peace. It was a beautiful place. And I think because of that, I grew up loving greens. You know, some of my earliest memories that, you know, things that come back to me with such pleasure is the smell of freshly cut grass, you know. I don't know how many, you guys unfortunately live in a concrete jungle. You know, you wake up in the morning, grass was cut yesterday, the rain comes down on that grass, and you wake up and you're like, whoa. You know, the pleasure is indescribable. And so I grew up really loving green. My mom had almost every kind of fruit tree you could imagine. Partly because she also grew up, you know, in the north with lots of plants. For economic reasons as well, like I said to you, lecturers didn't have money. So we had every kind of plant you wanted. Lemon trees, lime trees, pawpaw. You know the fruit tree they call fruit tree? It's interesting how that was the fruit tree. We had bananas, then we grew ewedu, we had moi moi leaf. I mean, my mom she just had green fingers. And that's what I grew up knowing. Then I moved, left home, and I started living in the concrete jungle. I didn't realize how much I missed this green. I had my potted plants and all, but it just didn't do it. It didn't cut it for me. Recently, God gave me the opportunity to go to a place where I could begin to do my green. So these are some of my favorite pictures of recent times. In fact, I think my classmates got tired of me. They said, that's all you put on your picture. Flower, flower. Is that all we want to see? Flower, flower. These are pictures that I took myself, all right? Not too far from where I was living at the time. These are some of my plants. These are trees, that are changing color about the time they call fall. So between summer and winter, the trees just begin to change colors, and the colors are amazing. In fact, I call it God's palette. I believe God is an artist, and he has the richest color palettes you can ever imagine. This is just grass, but the colors. So I had my own house. Next slide, please. These are some of my own plants that I grew, And every time I come out in the morning and I see my plants growing, it gave me a deep sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. Okay? Next one. These are mine. Can you believe that? So, initially when I moved, I didn't have to look after my lawn. I moved into a house that was looked after. And I think I missed having my own lawn. So I moved to a place where I could get a lawn. Now, this house hadn't been inhabited for a little while. So when we moved, you can imagine what the lawn looked like. So that's my son. What's up, guys? That's my son. That was 9 years ago. Everybody in my house knows that mommy's lawn. If I became mommy's lawn, it's not everybody's lawn. It's mommy's lawn. You have to do your bit. She will drag you out. I love mowing my lawn, but I felt like my son needed to participate. So that's a picture of him mowing the lawn with a lot of, okay? Now, you can see that there's quite a bit of weed in there. These are actually wildflowers, okay? So I started to tend my lawn. I started to work on it. Next picture. Next slide, please. All right, I hope they will get us a picture of the lawn. So I started to tend my lawn, and it came out beautiful. I wake up in the morning, I stand at my window, and I look out. So my own bedroom looked over. And now, when I'm talking of my lawn, I'm not talking of anything big. It was a small patch. But seeing the effort, the fruits, the fruit of my labor, as it were. Seeing it, yeah. Did you notice have you seen the difference between the first one and this one? Right? So, putting in that effort and seeing it come out well always gave me a deep sense of accomplishment, gave me a deep sense of gratitude, So, I continued. Next slide. At some point, I decided to come back home. I thought, young man, now you're old enough to look after yourself and look after my lawn. So I left him and went away. Next time I came back, I noticed that weed had started coming into my lawn. And I was deeply upset. I'm like, young man, how far? You know how much this thing means to me. And my son loves me. He's not a lazy guy. It's like, hey, mommy, I know. Mommy, I can't put in the effort that you put into this thing. And by the way, I don't even know the difference between weed and grass. So, there you go. So, anyway, we continued. Next slide. Look at that. I went away and came back one day, and this was my lawn. My goodness. I don't know if any of you can imagine the pain. I was like, Ajasaoki, I'm going to. Is it you I will sell? Or what? How am I going to fix this lawn? What happened? Mommy, I don't know. Did you water the lawn? Sometimes. Ha. I went to a secondary school where we used to hoe. I'm sure none of you does that now. My morning duty was hoeing and raking. Every Friday, they give you cutlass, you go out and cut. And it was a federal government college. I dare say one of the best federal government colleges in Nigeria at the time. But that's what we learned. So I put my skills to use. Oh my goodness. I got out and I started trying to tend this lawn. And then I realized it was too late. This lawn had been so badly damaged. There was nothing I could do about it. So I spoke to my husband. I said, look, this is... you spoiled my surprise. Yet I said to my husband, this is all weed. There's no more grass there. It's all weed. I said to my husband, there's nothing I can do. I'm going to have to find a professional that will come in and fix this lawn. When they gave me the bill, I almost passed out. But like I said, it's what's important to me. It's really important to me. So I had to give up a lot. There are many, many things I won't buy, but I will fix my lawn. Next slide. Imagine this. So this is new sword, what you call new sword. So that thing that we see is real. So they come, it's like carpet grass, but it's real grass. So we had to dig up all the weed. Took 4 hefty guys. Came, they tilled the ground. I was out there with them. We removed as much of the weed as possible, or we think we removed everything. And then they laid the new grass. And they said to me, here are the rules, right? Here are the rules. 1, you must water this lawn twice a day for the next 3 weeks. I thought, baga. I'm not going to be around for the next 3 weeks. Number 2, when you cut the lawn, you must make sure it is no shorter than 1 3/4 inches. I thought, will I put ruler? Abi? Number 3, you must fertilize the lawn. I thought, okay, that's easy. I know how to do that. And so I started looking after my lawn. You know, my joy was restored. I used to come out every morning, water the lawn, and then I'll call my son. Now at this point he was much older, but he was busy, he was walking and everything. Young man, please now, I have to go back home. Will you keep my lawn? Oh yes, mommy, I will. Are you sure? I said, do you know how much I paid? He said, no. I told him. He said, so like almost my salary for half a month. I said, yes. But this is important to me. Will you keep my lawn? He said, yes. So I went away. Let me show, next slide so that you can see the thing. Okay, I don't have the contrast there. So I went away. And then I came back. And guess what? Who can guess? Who can guess? Well, thank God I wasn't back at square one. But my lawn had started suffering. My lawn had started suffering. So I started working on it again. This time, luckily for me, I had more time to stay back. And I started working on it again. But the effort, and I'm not getting younger. So the effort it takes every day to go out and weed that lawn started getting to me. Because of COVID, work had moved online. So I was working full-time and trying to do this. About 3 weeks ago, just before I started coming back, 4 weeks ago, I had noticed some more weed. And I thought to myself, from where? Again? Then I looked at my neighbor. And I noticed that my neighbor had a lot of weed in their garden. I thought, that's where it's coming from. Because what happens is that wind blows, okay? Wind blows and carries the pollen. Just like wind blows and carries good things and bad things. The wind was blowing and bringing the weed into my lawn. So first day I thought, okay, I will fix this, I'll do it. It's not a lot. I'll come back and do it. And then it started raining for about 2 to 3 days. 3 days before I packed my bags to come back, I came outside. I almost passed out. The amount of weed that I found there, it was unbelievable. And I thought, in 3 days, is that possible? So I came out, I thought, rain or no rain. Luckily, rain doesn't kill anybody. So I started tilling. And as I was tilling, I don't often say God speaks to me, but I feel like I got some messages that as I was tilling, and the thing said, aha, if you had pulled the few weeds you found 3 days ago, it would not have been this bad. You wouldn't have needed to stay in the rain to pull this weed. You wouldn't have needed to get soaked. You wouldn't have needed 3 hours. And I didn't finish pulling it. And as I was doing that work, certain things were coming to me. And those are the lessons that I want to talk to you about today. Weeds in my lawn. What's your lawn? Do we all have weeds in our lawn? Do we allow weeds to grow in our lawn? It occurred to me, that the lawn represents many things in our lives. Can I have my slide back, please? The lawn represents many things in our lives. The lawn represents me, my heart, my life. It represents my relationship with my family, my community. It represents Nigeria. And it represents the world at large. Weeds are things that we don't want, right? Myself, my body, my soul, and my spirit, that's my lawn. My neighborhood is my lawn. Nigeria is my lawn. It is our lawn. And the world at large. I don't know how many of you are observing the crazy weather phenomenon that's going on. You wouldn't have needed to get soaked. You wouldn't have needed 3 hours. And I didn't finish pulling it. And as I was doing that work, certain things were coming to me. And those are the lessons that I want to talk to you about today. Weeds in my lawn. What's your lawn? Do we all have weeds in our lawn? Do we allow weeds to grow in our lawn? It occurred to me, that the lawn represents many things in our lives. Can I have my slide back, please? The lawn represents many things in our lives. The lawn represents me, my heart, my life. It represents my relationship with my family, my community. It represents Nigeria. And it represents the world at large. Weeds are things that we don't want, right? Myself, my body, my soul, and my spirit, that's my lawn. My neighborhood is my lawn. Nigeria is my lawn. It is our lawn. And the world at large. I don't know how many of you are observing the crazy weather phenomenon that's going on. It's frightening what is going on with the weather. So if we think that it's not important, next slide, please. So I thought to myself, well, I didn't think to myself. I was being taught that day that I have to take care of my lawn. If I don't take care of my lawn, I get to lose so much. So much. And so the lessons I learned, and there are many, many more, but I picked a few. One, my lawn is my responsibility. If I love that lawn so much, and I want it to be in a certain way, it is my responsibility. My son loves me, but he could not take care of my lawn the way I would have taken care of my lawn. He couldn't do it. Nobody can take care of you the way you should take care of yourself. Nobody has a responsibility for you the way you have for yourself. The buck stops with you. Your body, your soul, your spirit. The buck stops with you. I've heard so many young people say, oh, because my father, he didn't do. My mother, she did. She beat me. Whose lawn is it? Whose lawn is it? It's your lawn. You have ultimate responsibility for looking after your lawn. You have ultimate responsibility for looking after your body, your soul, and your spirit. Other people may help you. That's what the world is for. That's why we have communities. That's why we have friends. That's why we have parents. But the buck stops with you. I've heard people say, oh, I'm not going to school again because my father is, The buck stops with you. You have to tend your lawn. You have to water it. You have to mow it. You have to fertilize it. You have to feed your minds. You are responsible for learning. Some people think, okay, as long as I can get the grades, as long as I can get the paper, if I copy my friend, if I get somebody to do my exam, as long as I get the paper, you're not feeding your lawn. Feed your mind. That's why this project is there. Feed your mind. Grow. You know, I was introduced as a gynecologist and as a quality improvement specialist. I started out as a medical doctor. Yeah, I became a specialist. Yes. Now I'm doing something that's totally different. I believe it's something that's more needed in the medical world, and that's assuring the quality and safety of the care that the medical people provide. I've switched because I believe that this is what is more needed. And I got there because I fed my mind. I picked up a book. A friend of mine was given an opportunity one day. Highly, in my mind, it's very rare that you come across such opportunities. And she felt it was a major burden. She did not like it. This quality thing, what is this now? So she would come into the office that we shared, and she would complain, and then she would go for the classes, and she would come back, and she would complain. And, of course I was listening to her because I felt like, this thing must be really terrible. Then one day she came in and threw her book, really, literally threw the book on the table and said, I'm done. I'm not touching this thing anymore. And I thought, how bad can this thing be? So I picked up the book. And I tell you, literally, the first page I read, I said, Eureka. for me, it was, this is what we've been talking about. This is what I've been looking for. Can you imagine that? In my mind, it was like, this is what I have been looking for, that I didn't even know existed. But for my friend, it was a major hassle. And to the glory of God, that from that day on, that has got me and opened all kinds of doors for me that are unbelievable. That book that somebody threw away. Water your lawn. Fertilize your lawn. Let it grow. Number 2, do not let weed take root. When weed takes root, it can become a really major issue. You can see that all the good that was on my lawn, all the good things, were eaten away because I let one weed start and then it spreads and it spreads. When I was coming back this 4 weeks ago that I said, I was worried, I called for another specialist, somebody who could possibly look after the lawn for me. And he said, well, it's almost fall, so let's hope. But unfortunately, the weeds are hardier than the grass. They last longer. They are stronger. Things that will kill grass will not kill weed. And I thought to myself, this is trouble. If you let things that should not be in your life take root, the effort that is required to take them out is unbelievable. So don't even let it take root. If you have a friend who has bad habits and they are trying to include you and you think, it's okay, I will just do it once. That once can become a major, major issue. Who knows about Whitney Houston? Who knows Whitney Houston? You know Whitney Houston? Okay. What killed her? Yes? What killed her? Drug abuse. Do you know how Whitney Houston got into drug abuse? How? That's what everybody thinks. Isn't that interesting? It was very interesting the day I learned that it might be the other way around, that she introduced her husband to drugs. Whitney Houston was introduced to drugs by a cousin. Her cousin had been doing drugs. Whitney Houston took drugs once and she was hooked. Once. From the first day she tried it, she became hooked. What am I saying? Don't play with weeds. Don't fool around with weeds. You know what is right and what is wrong. Don't fool around with it. If you let it take root, just give it one small patch. When they told me, your grass should not be lower than 1¾ inches, I said, why? They said, because when your grass is kept at that level, when the wind blows the seed of the weed, it doesn't let it land because the place is full, right? I thought, oh, okay. They told me before. I didn't take it seriously. Do not give space for weed to take root in your lawn. I'm talking about your lawn, yourself. I'm talking about your lawn, your family. Do not, where you have a choice, you will stand up for what is right. Do not let, I'm not even sure if I can say do not let anymore. For Nigeria, we all have responsibility. We all have responsibility. Do we even know what's right or wrong anymore? I really despair sometimes. But you are a younger generation. And we are really, really, really looking up to you. And not just about EndSARS. Right? We're hoping that those of you who are sitting in this room will be able to tell the difference between weed and grass. And you will not let weed take root. Wherever you can, you will do what is right, irrespective of who is looking. You will determine to tend the lawn of Nigeria that you can do. Imagine if we all of us in this nation decided that, okay, we will tend our lawn. We're showing pictures of nice places. We all see it. We watch DSTV. What is wrong with our lawn being like the lawn of US? What's wrong with us being like the UK? They don't have two heads, though. It is what they have decided to make of their nation. The people who walk around there look after their country. They feel responsible for their country. Nobody else is responsible for our country but ourselves. If we all decide that we can cheat our way through life, we can disrespect other people, and we can try to get in front when we should be at the back, and we can disobey traffic lights, and we can do everything, and then we will leave this place and go. When we get there, we know that that place doesn't belong to us. This is the one that belongs to us. Tend your lawn. Tend your lawn. Obey the laws. There's no two way about it. The laws of God and the laws of man. Many people behave as if the laws of man were made to punish us. No. If there are no laws, we can't live as a community. The laws are what help us to live as a community. Where you're right, your right ends where mine starts. So if we think that I have a right to do this and I have a right to do that, and all that is making my neighbor uncomfortable, then you have disobeyed. You have disrespected another person's rights. Be relentless. Be diligent. Be relentless about pulling the weeds. Search yourself. Learn to take feedback. When somebody says to you, oh, you've done something that's not good, do not burst out and start attacking the person. Stand back and think to yourself, really? Is it right or wrong? Be diligent. Be relentless in pulling the weeds. Wherever you see weeds in your life, pull it. If you don't pull it, it will make your lawn bald like my own. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Like I said, weeds cross boundaries. Be careful who you associate with. Their weeds will cross the boundaries that you have set. It is inevitable. It is inevitable. Next one, please. Next. So in rounding up, this is a picture I took on CNN. I don't know how many people saw this on CNN 2 days ago. It says, wildflowers bloom in Chile's Atacama Desert, the driest desert in the world. When I saw it, it blew my mind. So I rewound. I think I must have seen this thing like 3 or 4 times. I would rewind it and look at it again and think, what? The Atacama Desert, there's no water. What? I would rewind it. And it came to me, that many people think that, oh, I am letting the weeds grow. I'm stealing time from my employer. I'm allowing things to happen. And I will take this just because I don't have. I don't have. If only I had this, then I wouldn't do this. Then if only, you see, this our nation self, this our country is terrible. It's terrible. The road is bad, so I have to follow one way. Next one. Look at this. This is beauty in the driest place in the world. Meaning we can do good. Good things can come even in the hardest situations. If only we try. Try. Do your best. You know who's made these beautiful flowers grow? Yeah? You know? It's God. He's the only one that could have made this happen. And he says to us, if you are worried about yourself, look at me now, and look at the lilies in the field. What do they have? They don't even have water. Look at the beauty. I would like you to, I'm sure most of you on the internet, go and Google the Atacama Desert and see the pictures of the beautiful flowers there. Even in adversity, there can be beauty. In adversity, there can be beauty if you let beauty go. Next one. So, take care of your lawn. Tend your lawn. You all have lawns to tend. Tend your lawn. Thank you very much.